Hello, it is your Astro Coach Sarah here for Wellness Astrology, this time for the moon in Libra. This is, what is this, June 4th? Uh-oh, hold on. 6/4 through 6/6. So June 4th through the 6th. Okay, sorry, forgot my dates for a second because I had like a few other things in my head. Okay, so I mentioned in the previous video about this Jupiter Saturn square. It's building. Jupiter's at 29 of Gemini, and Saturn is at 0, I think, of Aries, maybe 1 degree by now. But I looked it up. So their opposition will begin in 2029 in Scorpio and Taurus. So Jupiter and Scorpio, and Saturn and Taurus. It will continue at the beginning degrees of Sag, with Jupiter in Sagittarius and Saturn in Gemini. And so that's the opposition. Um, so yeah, that's how this works with Jupiter and Saturn. They have like a 20-year cycle together. So anyway, for anyone curious about that, so it starts in 2029 and persists into 2030. So we're 5 years off from that, which seems like a long time, but it's probably going to be like phew, fly right by. There was something I was going to look at. What was I going to look at? Jupiter's at 29. Oh, Saturn. Saturn is at 0 degrees and 50 geometric minutes of Aries. So the square is beginning. Jupiter moves into Cancer in the next 36 hours from this video. The moon will be in Scorpio when it does that. So with this chart, we have a very airy chart, right? The moon's in Libra, that's an air sign. Venus is going to move into Taurus, thank God. Venus is kind of going to be able to take a breath of fresh air, because the moon will be in one of her home signs and she will be in her other home sign, as Venus rules both Taurus and Libra. So, it's kind of going to be maybe a calmer chart with that, but not really, because we still have the Mars Uranus square building. Mars is also going to perfect his trine to Chiron. Yes, I talked about the Mars-Venus Chiron trine a while ago, but Mars was a little ways away, like a couple degrees away from the actual trine, when Venus conjuncted Chiron. But I still felt like the energy was there, you know what I mean? But that trine has the trine between Mars and Chiron has not perfected. And then we have this Mars-Uranus square building. And so tempers are tempering, and information is probably going to be wild because this is a fairly air chart with the Sun, Mercury, and Jupiter in Gemini, which is an air sign, the Moon in Libra, which is an air sign, and Pluto in Aquarius, which is an air sign. That's a lot of air. Um, so this is like one of these kinds of days, the 4th through the 6th, is kind of a glimpse at like the next 4 years, right? Because we've talked about plenty of times with all this air and fire, that it's going to be a very zippity zappity, fast moving chart, right? Or time and space that we're in. It's also very masculine. So you're going to want to like get shit done. But I feel like this moon in Libra is a good reminder to like, yeah, you want to get things done with all of the fire and air in the chart, but make sure it's pretty. Like make sure you have the right people. Like I have editors doing editor things. I have, people doing image things. I have illustrators and things like that to do illustrator things, because those aren't things that I'm good at. And I want whatever I publish to be pretty, and be attractive. And I'm not good at those things. But that's why we resource to people who are good at those things. Um, I'm good at like information, and I'm good at sharing, and I'm good at verbalizing, and I'm good at writing. I'm not good at all of the prettying up types of things. That's what there's other people there to do. And if you think about it, no great movie or television show, um, or book or whatever came without a support crew, right? Maybe aside from like Michael Landon. I am obsessed with Little House on the Prairie, so I listen to a lot of different things about what work Michael Landon put into Little House on the Prairie to make Little House on the Prairie what it was. But if you watch the series, you can tell when there was a different director because there would be a different angled shot that Michael Landon wouldn't normally take. There was maybe a different perspective, or a character was acting a different way, and there were a few like spoofy type episodes throughout the series. And so, I think about that. And I see several clips of an interview with Brian Austin Green talking about Beverly Hills 90210 and how, that type of show had different directors for different episodes because, depending on location and the storylines, and whatnot. So my point in saying all of this is there's different people who make things pretty. There's very few of us who can do a one-man show, pull it off and make it look good. And there's people who do try, but I feel like with Pluto and Aquarius, it's a good reminder to all of us, depending on where you have Aquarius, to enlist the support of, supportive people who can actually help you, and steer away from. And this is where like hard choices, right? I talked about with the Mercury Cazimi, like hard yeses and hard nos. Like it may be time where you're like hard no to interacting or engaging with people who don't fully support you and can't lend you some kind of a resource to make your project happen, make your dream happen. You know, um, when I have traveled around, yes, I've traveled around as a nomad independently and I've stayed in Airbnbs and hotels. Not always, though. There have been times where I've stayed with friends. There's been times where I took on a friend's house sit so that I could resource myself for something. Worked out perfect for my situation, for their situation. I did a pug sit recently, and that was twofold, right? That was me pug sitting for them, but they also helped me learn the area and drive me around and do some things I needed to do in their area. And so it's an even exchange. They paid me in food. Y'all, was fed so well for a week. I'm not joking. I like being paid in food. That is maybe the best way to pay me is pay me with food. It was so good. I had my first pony shoe, if you've heard of a horseshoe. Probably most of you haven't. It's very Central Illinois specific, but they're damn delicious, but holy shit, you cannot eat them regularly. If you do, you probably have problems going to the bathroom. And then we went to the Cheesecake Factory, and I mean, she cooked dinner for me a couple of times. Her daughter brought me dinner. It just fucking amazing. Like, pay me in food? Oh, yeah, sure. All I had to do was buy myself, like, I think I bought like three different drinks for myself. One was like a Monster Java, one was a kombucha, and one was probably like a Liquid Death or something. If you've never tried Liquid Death sparkling waters, highly recommend. They're a little pricey, but they're so fucking good. Anywho, my point is that enlist people who will actually fucking help you. Those who are actually willing to support you. If they're not and they're shitting on you and pooping on you and, spitting on you and your ideas, fuck them. And not literally go to them and say, fuck you. Just quietly leave them alone. It's not worth it. You're going to have to get really good at hard boundaries and hard opportunities to just be like, no, I'm not interested in hanging out this weekend and doing your partying thing or your whatever thing. I actually need to stay home and take care of my physical body, or my emotions are crazy, whatever the situation is, or I need to work on my project, or I need to do this or that. And so, this is a very critical time to really make some things happen. But you're not going to make them happen if you're constantly taking on the negative juju of other people. Okay. And yes, I have had years of opportunity to grieve friends that have walked away or family that's walked away. Yes, I have had time to grieve all of those things, but take the time to do that for yourself. so that you can, step into a new opportunity here. So just remember that Libra is about balance and that sometimes it's cool to go hang out with those people. But if your project deadline is coming up or you really want to make it happen, and there may not be a deadline, it may be that you're just ready to make your project happen, to publish your art, to get your new job, to get your house sold, to do something so that you can change your life. All right, off my soapbox. Let's see what the tarot has for this moon in Libra situation. Um, hmm, the Fool in reverse. You know, You know what you need to do. You don't need to explore. You don't need to find new information. You don't need to whatever. You know what you need to do. We talked about it with the moon in Virgo. You're not going to create a new if you're still in the same habits and routines and all of the things. You're just in a vicious cycle, right? We've talked about it before with regards to sitting in your hot stew of shitty victimhood. It is not going to work anymore. You don't need more information. Trust me when I tell you that you're going to put your content out there, you're going to put your message out there, you're going to put your legacy idea out there, and you're going to be surprised at how many people are going to be like, holy shit, this is amazing. Okay? Trust me on this one. Trust me. Just trust me. The Hermit upright, Noon soon. I'm not even surprised to see this right now because I do think there's a lot of Hermit type energy going on. Um, because there we go. Um, wanting to be alone, wanting to distance yourself from people, wanting to distance yourself from events, things like that. Like, I'm not surprised to see this because I feel like there's a part of people who are letting go of a lot of old stuff. They're maybe just, getting away from toxic people, getting away from people who hold them back and want to clip their wings. And so there's going to be a void or a gap between the time of you letting the old people go and the new people coming in. I don't think this is a time to be antisocial. In fact, the opposite. But I do think there's a void space here where you do need to be conscious about, like, my sister-in-law does this all the time. She puts her phone in the other room, she puts it on silent because there are days when she's just like, I need to be done with people. I can't today. I can't answer the phone. I can't answer text messages. I can't. Like, she just, like, more and more, she is disconnecting from other people and, like, literally legit taking time to be by herself and get her chores done and get her brain back together and get her nervous system back together. That's what this is. This is not antisocial. This is, you need to intentionally take time away from everything. Get time to digitally detox. I should probably take my own advice. But I'm actually working on a couple things that I will probably be talking about here in the very near future. So hang tight for announcements and upcomings. All right, let's see what's up with the ancient feminine wisdom. I like this deck a lot. I should use it more often in, like, my daily to, like, tune in to a certain mythical goddess or mythical feminine. What I found though, when I do some of these oracles on the daily, is I start getting the same card over and over and over. And I'm like, okay, I get it. Can we have something different? Um, all right, we got Hera. Um, and this is I can't make this shit up. Social rituals. I cannot make this shit up. Because social rituals, let me see if I can make some kind of sense of the drawing here. Social rituals, like you've heard of like rituals for the new and the full moons. Some people take time to like journal or meditate or burn incense or light a white candle for purification during a new moon. Um, but let's see, there's somebody standing behind her. Um, I feel like this though is if socialization is a ritual or a practice, it's not just something you get in, like people get into like a mundane or a repetitive, what the fuck is the word? Repetitive. What's the word for repetitive motion? Yes, I've talked about like insanity and stuff like that, but there's a different word that I'm feeling out here. Um, but what this is saying is like in the community that I live in, it's like automatic 5 p.m. on Friday night, they're at the bars, and that's where they are until Saturday night. And then Sunday they're at church, begging God to forgive them for getting completely wasted and potentially causing accidents the 2 nights before. But you see what I'm saying? Like that's a repetitive way of behavior is automatically Friday evening they're at the bar, they're drinking. Saturday they're doing their Jeep runs for charity because that's what we do is we go get drunk to support charities. But you know what I'm saying? Like they're in this repetitive habit. I talk about this a lot with regards to meditative sports like running or cycling or swimming, or things like that, where it's repetitive, and you kind of get into that meditative state where like your body's not trying to do something new. That's what I'm talking about. But this is related to like socialization. When you are doing the same social activity over and over and over and over and over, wash, rinse, repeat, um, like you're not trying something new. You're not engaging your brain. You're not engaging your mental capacity. You're just doing the same thing over and over, right? And so, and there are people who get so repetitive about it that like they have to have Sunday dinner at noon right after church on Sunday. And if they break that, they literally lose their shit, right? And I'm not talking about like autistic people who need a routine. I completely get that. That is not what we're talking about here. I understand that. We're talking about people who can mentally grow and mentally expand who choose not to. Okay. Okay. But yeah, I feel like there's something of sustenance that you can get. And I feel like that is so perfect with the hermit upright, is like this isn't a matter of not socializing. This is a matter of choosing who you're going to socialize with. Remember that your mental takes in visually, like your five senses take in information, right? Your eyes, your ears, they take in information that then your mental has to process, your brain has to process. And is that information good and healthy and expansive, or is it just gossip about who's zooming who? Who gives a fuck? Or who spent money on what? Who gives a fuck? As long as it's not your circus, not your monkeys, why does it affect you? Okay. I love that so much. Be cognizant of what type of social things that you're doing. Are you expanding? Are you growing? Are the people who you're around expanding and growing? Are they you always talking about something new? Are you always talking about like theories and outlandish ideas? Or are you talking about the same, grocery prices and whether the sun's shining or whatever? You know what I mean? Okay. Thank you for tuning in. And I will talk to y'all on the next video. Take care.